guys, welcome back to another video. So if you notice, I'm not in my normal corner and I don't have a pencil and paper or a script to read because I had a plan for today. I was going to film a normal true crime since I'm back. Yes, a serial killer, those are always fun, but then I heard good news and I thought, you know what? I'm going to film something else. So, while I was gone, actually the day I got back, it was announced that Lori and Chad Daybell were indicted with murder.
The mother and her husband, each facing a first-degree murder charge. Chad and Lori Daybell were slapped with several new charges today. They all stem from the deaths of Lori's children, Tylee and JJ. The kids went missing right after their mother moved them from Chandler up to Idaho. Investigators found the siblings buried in the backyard of her new husband, Chad Daybell, in June.
Now, not a lot of evidence has come out. We kind of know how Tylee and JJ were found. We don't exactly know how they were killed, who killed them. And they haven't released anything of how they know Tammy was murdered, but they're indicting them on charges, with a few others in the mix. So instead of making this video about 2 minutes, because that's as much updates as I have, I thought about doing something else. So anyone who doesn't know, I've been invested in this case since early 2020. I've been wanting to know where the kids were, what was going on, were they alive, were they dead, all this other stuff. And then it was discovered in June of 2020 that the kids were dead in Chad's property, which made me so angry that someone could do that to kids. So I've made 3 separate videos on these people. Normally when I do a true crime, I do 1 video and that's it. I've done 3 videos, 1 true crime, art and mystery, and 2 update videos. This will be update number 3. So instead of making this short little update video, I decided that I'm going to combine all the videos into one. Now, if any of you have seen the other videos or know much about this case, it's going to be a repeat. I'm not filming new content aside from new news, but it's going to be taking those videos, editing them a little bit, but basically combining them so it's one full video, and it'll be the full story of Tylee and the disappearance of Tylee and JJ. Now, if after this they do release how they know Tammy died, how they know the 2 were murdered, who murdered them, with more evidence, maybe I will do another update video. But I thought, for now, that I would combine all of my videos, all my content on this case, so it's in one video. And if there's more evidence, maybe I'll delete that video and redo this. I don't know. But for now, I thought this would be the best cohesive way, so that way you're not having to watch multiple videos. Those videos will still be up. But if you want to watch it in one cohesive video, here it is. I will be including the 2 updates and the original video, and at the very end I'll be giving any more evidence that I have, like the specific charges and when their trial dates are. So let's get into the disappearance and murder of Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow. Before I get started, I just want to say that if anyone out of the family does see this, I'm not trying to hate on you, I'm not trying to cause you any more pain. I just want to share my theories on the story and all the events that led up to this, so that way others can understand what's going on. So before I get into the timeline of events, I'm going to give off some of the main participants in this story so you kind of understand what's going on. This timeline is kind of weird and there's a lot of moving pieces to it, but I'll try and give my best explanation of each of the people involved. Lori Vallow is the mother of Tylee and JJ. She is in court right now dealing with the disappearance of the 2 kids. Charles Vallow was Lori's 4th husband and JJ's adopted father. JJ, or Joshua Vallow, is a 7-year-old autistic child who is missing, and his half-sister, Tylee Ryan, is a 17-year-old who is also missing. Colby Ryan is Tylee's older brother. Alex Cox is Lori's brother. Kay and Larry Woodcock is the biological grandparents of JJ. Tammy Daybell is Chad's former wife, and Chad Daybell is Lori's 5th husband. A little wonky, a little weird, but that just gives you a backstory on who each person is. Now let's get into the timeline of events. In December of 2018, Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow met up on a podcast known as Preparing a People Podcast Network's Time to Warrior Up. They discussed doomsday, theories about the end of the world. And since then, the podcast has deleted any episodes where either of them or both of them were involved. Before this, Lori had known Chad from his books. Chad Daybell is a very religious man who believes the world will be ending soon, and who writes a lot of religious doomsday books talking about how the world is corrupt and that God will come down and punish us all. February 26, 2019, Charles Vallow, Lori's fourth husband, files for divorce and finds out that his insurance policy on his life has been hacked into. One email from Charles to the company says a password was placed 6 days prior that he did not put on there. He requested an investigation into his soon-to-be ex-wife, Lori, because Lori has threatened his life. She has done this in the past. That is one of the main reasons why he was divorcing her, as he was scared she might actually do something. According to the divorce paperwork filed by Charles, Lori threatened Charles and told him she was God preparing for Christ's second coming in July of 2020. And if he got in her way, she would murder him. Because of this, he got a protective order against Lori, as he was afraid she might actually try to kill him. It took an official letter to Banner, a notarized beneficiary change form, to give Charles access back to his account. And once he got access, he changed the beneficiary from Lori to his sister Kay. And because he knew that if anything ever happened to him, that Kay would be able to take care of JJ, as JJ has autism, and so he would need the assistance. And he didn't want to give a cent to Lori or any of her family, because he was afraid they might actually do something to him or the kids. On July 11th, 2019, Charles came to the home of Lori, Tylee, JJ, and her brother Alex to pick up JJ. A fight ensued, and supposedly Tylee got a bat to protect her mother from Charles, where Charles took the bat from her. It ended with Charles being fatally shot by Alex. Alex told cops when they arrived that it was in self-defense because Charles had a bat and was planning to hit one of them with it. But if you watch the footage, the cam footage of Alex, he seems really calm and way too calm for the situation. Like he didn't even care that he just killed someone.
So, walk me through it. So you go back in your room.
So I just went back in the living room. I'm like, what is your problem?
With the gun in your
Yes. And I said, I want you to put that bat down. And he wouldn't do it. And he's like, dude. And he came at me with the bat again after he'd already hit me in the head. So I shot him to stop him.
Okay, then what happened?
That was it.
But what is obviously detrimental to their story is that night, the night Charles died, they had a pool party in the backyard. If your husband, your fourth husband, if he had shot in your front yard and you are in grieving, your first thought is not to have a pool party in the backyard the night it happens. So that just adds suspicion to the whole thing of how he died. Many people believe that he was murdered on purpose. And with everything going on, once you know more about the timeline, I wouldn't be surprised if they killed him just to get him out of the way. On July 12th, KSAV-TV received text messages that Lori had sent Charles's kids, because Charles Vallow had 2 kids from a previous marriage. And the text messages were very interesting and quite odd. Instead of calling the kids to tell them their father died, she sent text messages, and when they asked what was going on and tried to get answers back, she would not respond for hours, and the responses she did give were very vague and not very helpful in the situation. Hi boys, I have very sad news. Your dad passed away yesterday. I'm working on making arrangements, and I'll keep you informed with what's going on. I'm still not sure how to handle things. Just want you to know that I love you, and so did your dad. Lori, what happened? Where is he, and what happened? I'll call you when I can, bub. He is here in Arizona. Where in Arizona? When did this all happen? How's JJ doing? What funeral home is he at? Lori, what the hell happened? You can't just tell us our dad died and disappear. You're not too busy to just let us know he died and disappear. Lori, it's been 3 hours. You're not that busy. I don't care what you're doing. I'm sorry you are so upset. I'm so upset too. I'm trying to get JJ ready for bed. I'm waiting to hear back from the medical examiner to make sense out of all of this myself. Please be patient with me. It's a crushing situation all the way around. I'm still trying to processing it too and what it means for JJ. When and where is the funeral? How did this all happen? I want an explanation. I'm still waiting, working on arrangements, and sorting things out the best I can. I'll let you know when I know. Why aren't you telling me what happened? I've asked numerous times. Just tell me. Okay, Lori, it's been 3 days. You let us know our father passed away over a text message. 3 days, and we haven't heard from anyone. The only information we have is that one text from you saying he passed away. You disappeared after that. We need any information you have. What happened? When did it happen? How did it happen? Where is he now? Are there any funeral plans? And how the fuck can I be a part of it? We talked to him all the time, and now he's gone. He was our dad, and we loved him very much. We deserve answers. Also, why have you been the only one to contact us? We haven't heard from Kobe or Tylee. I know they are affected too. I called Kobe recently too, but he didn't answer. Is JJ safe, and what does he know? I need to be kept in the loop about all this. This isn't a nonchalant topic you can just throw a text at and be done with. These are your dad's wishes. He and I discussed this a lot over the years we have been together. My plan is to have him cremated as he wished, and then take all 5 of you kids to Hawaii to spread his ashes. He did not want a funeral. He wants a celebration of his life. I've been overwhelmed, but I am going to try these arrangements today. JJ is doing good, but he does not know his daddy is gone. It's so tough because he doesn't really understand. He says daddy is in California working. I know how much he loves you boys and always has. I have a lot of things to do with the business and contacting people, and it's still also difficult. Today I'm trying to put up a memorial page on the funeral home website. I'll send the link to you when I have it. I love you, and so does your dad. I appreciate this information, but I will ask these questions again because I still haven't been given an answer. What happened? When did it happen? How did it happen? Where is he now? Is there a funeral? When is it? Who have you told about his death? Give me all the information you have. Please, my brother and I deserve to know. Well, if you won't answer those questions, can we please have his watches and other stuff we always talked about and had around? Of course. Send me the address you want me to send your stuff to. Kay is supposed to clean out the Houston house. I told her to let you and blank have whatever you want first, then she could give the half or give away the rest. I know he wanted you to have all that you want. Anyone else find that very suspicious? Your husband's dead, and instead of calling his children, you give him a text, then you don't respond to their texts. They want to know what's going on. If you were worried about Charles and what happened, you would tell them what's going on. But she does not tell them when he died, how he died, when his funeral is, what the whole situation is. She won't explain any details, which is very suspicious to someone who says it was self-defense. Her brother was fighting Charles off in self-defense. If that were the case, she would have told them that, but she didn't, which is very interesting. Very interesting. In August of 2019, Kobe Ryan, Lori's oldest son, was told by Lori that she was moving to start a new job, but she didn't tell him where they were moving or exactly what was going on, and that was the last time he really had contact with his mother or his sister Tylee. Lori also returned JJ's service dog. She called them in late July, but was returned to the company on August 30th. Neil Mestas had recently trained the dog for JJ specifically. It was a golden doodle puppy named Bailey, and Neil said that Bailey just helped him stay calm, was a comfort as well. One of the things that JJ really struggled with and the family struggled with was him sleeping through the night. JJ had a experience with sneaking out at night, trying to wander out of the house. And so the first night that Bailey stayed with the family, JJ slept through the night, which was a real relief. So Neil was very confused as to why Lori would return the dog, as it was helping JJ and keeping him home and keeping him safe. Neil said Lori told him that they would be giving the dog back because they were moving to Idaho from Arizona. When he inquired further about why they were giving the dog back, Vallow just said it was hard to talk about, so would not give any details as to why she was giving the dog back. August is also the last time that Kay and Larry Woodcock talked to JJ for the last time. They would video chat with JJ quite often, and their last video chat was in late August. They would FaceTime each other. The last time that they saw JJ, it seemed like someone else was holding the camera, and it lasted for less than a minute. That was the last time that Larry and Kay had seen JJ alive. On September 3rd, Lori enrolled JJ at Kennedy Elementary School in Rexburg, Idaho. On the 5th, Lori told JJ's former school, Lawrence Institute for Education, also known as Life Academy, in Gilbert, Arizona, that JJ would not be returning to school. He emailed, "Since circumstances in our lives have changed drastically since my husband passed away last month, I have been offered a job out of state and I've had to accept it. We have had to move quickly since the job started ASAP, so I'm sad to inform you that Joshua won't be returning this year." And that was it. She did not give them further notice. She did not go in to talk to them personally. The only thing that she gave them was an email saying that they were moving and that JJ would not be returning to school. On the 8th of September, the family went to a trip on Yellowstone Park. JJ, Alex, Lori, and Tylee were there, and that is the last time that anyone has seen Tylee. There is no physical evidence that Tylee ever left the park. Of course, it is possible that she did leave, but there is no camera evidence, no pictures, no nothing. That is the last time she posted on her Instagram, and she is a 17-year-old girl, so her not posting for this long makes no sense. It is possible, but it is highly unlikely that no one has seen her in this long without something being suspicious. So this was the last time that anyone had seen Tylee at Yellowstone National Park. On the 17th of September, this is the last video footage of JJ. He is outside playing with another boy in the Rock Creek Hollow subdivision where the family was staying. It is a doorbell camera that captured him playing with another boy out in the yard, and that is the last video evidence of JJ.
This here is footage from a neighbor's Ring doorbell camera in Rexburg. The video shows JJ playing and then running into his mother, Lori Vallow's townhome. It's from September 17th, and JJ was last seen September 23rd at Kennedy Elementary School in Rexburg.
On the 24th of September, Lori unenrolled JJ from school, saying that she was going to homeschool him. And because of this, the school no longer tracked JJ, so no one knows where he could be or what happened after that day. Also, it was Tylee's 17th birthday on the 24th. And on that same day, Lori canceled her babysitter that usually took care of JJ, saying that her services were no longer needed and that he went to go stay with his grandmother for several weeks, which was a lie, as the grandmother has not seen JJ since August. On October 1st, Lori began renting a storage unit for $53 at Self Storage Plus. Surveillance footage shows her and what looks to be Alex, but it could also be Chad Dabo, which will be coming into play later. But no one can really tell who it is, but they believe it is probably Alex Cox, her brother. When they investigated the storage unit further, they found items that would be quite suspicious if you were anyone. There were bikes, a scooter, winter clothing, a photo album with pictures of JJ and Tylee, sports equipment, a backpack with JJ's initials on it, and a jersey with the name of Colby Ryan, which is Lori's oldest son. Inside were also blankets with pictures of Tylee and JJ. So a lot of JJ and Tylee's belongings, including toys, were inside this storage unit, which is kind of odd because wouldn't they want to use those toys? Why would you be putting all of their belongings inside a storage unit? On the 2nd of October, Lori bought a wedding ring, a size 4 sterling silver southwestern style malachite gemstone, which was purchased on Amazon for $35.99. That same day, Brandon B., the ex-husband of Lori's niece, Melanie, was shot at in Arizona. On October 9th, Tammy Daybell was shot at in a similar manner as Brandon was. She called 911 saying a masked man shot at her with a paintball gun, what she believes to be a paintball gun. She also posted the accident on Facebook, saying she had no idea why someone would want to shoot at her. Then, between the 10th and 16th of October, Colby Ryan got 2 Venmo payments from Tylee's account. On the 10th, he got some money that had "We love you" as the message, because you can send messages with the money on Venmo. And on the 16th, he got another one that had a heart emoji. Now, Colby thought this was odd because Tylee didn't say more and why she was sending him money, and he believed that it might be from his mother, as his mother was not very tech savvy, and so when she wanted to send money through the family, she would use Tylee's account. So Colby believes that it was not Tylee, but it was Lori sending him money. On the 19th of October, Tammy Daybell, at 49, dies in her sleep in Salem, Idaho. Her death was initially believed to be natural causes, but it was kind of suspicious. A little bit of backstory is Chad Daybell, the Doomsday author. He believed he was having visions of his wife Tammy dying, and then she randomly dies in her sleep. Her family believes that it was foul play, as they saw her days beforehand and she was completely healthy. It is possible she died in her sleep, but it's highly unlikely. On November 5th, 2019, Chad and Lori get married in Hawaii less than 2 weeks after his wife passes away in her sleep, and there are pictures of them in Hawaii smiling and laughing, and in the picture you can see the wedding ring that she bought on the 2nd of October, a little over 2 weeks before Tammy died. On November 26th, authorities performed a welfare check on Chad and Lori to find out where the kids were, as the grandparents, Kay and Larry, were concerned for JJ's health because no one had talked to him or seen him in so long. When the police came to the home, Lori and Chad told police that JJ was staying with a friend in Arizona. The police returned the next day after contacting this friend in Arizona to find out that JJ had never been there and that Lori told her to lie to police to say JJ was in her care, even though this friend had not seen JJ in years. The police returned the next day on November 27th to find the house empty, as the couple had abruptly vacated the premises. So they were on the run. They were running from something. That same day, the authorities apprehended a 2018 Jeep Wrangler with a Texas license plate that belonged to Charles Vallow, the husband that was shot in July. Tylee reportedly drove that car regularly before she went missing, and Brandon, who got shot at in early October, believes that that was the vehicle that the person was driving that shot at him. He believes the Jeep was the car outside his home as he was being shot at, and he does believe that Alex was driving the Jeep. On December 1st, 2019, Lori and Chad board a American Airlines flight to Lihu, Hawaii, on the island of Kauai. And on the ticket and on the evidence that is shown of them getting on the plane, there's no sight of the two kids, and they believe the kids were never in Hawaii at all. On the 11th of December, Tammy's body was exhumed because many believe that there was foul play involved, and so they dug her up, and the results have not come in yet, but they are looking into her death to see if it was suspicious, because the cops believe it was. On the 12th of December, Alex is found dead in his apartment. His wife of 1 week called the police to find him unconscious on their bathroom floor. They believe it was a heart attack. He later died of his injuries, and they are also investigating his death to see if there was foul play. On the 19th of December, Chad and Lori were named persons of interest in the disappearance of the kids. Neither has been arrested nor charged as of yet. On the 20th of December, the Rexburg Police Department announced their search for JJ and Tylee as an official missing persons case. The FBI is assisting Rexburg Police and the Fremont County to locate Joshua Vallow and Tylee Ryan, last seen September 23rd in Rexburg. Call Rexburg PD at 208-359-3000 or Missing Kids at 1-800-THE-LOST with info. On December 30th, 2019, after traveling from Louisiana to Idaho, JJ's grandparents, Larry and Kay Woodcock, announced in a news conference that they would have a $20,000 reward for anyone who had information about where the two children were and recovery of them. On the 3rd of January, investigators seized 43 items from Chad Daybell's house, including computers, cell phones, journals, documents, and medications. On the 25th of January, a child protective action was filed against Lori on the behalf of JJ and Tylee, and it was served in Princeville, a city in Hawaii. And the order was given to Lori and was told that she had 5 days to produce the kids in court to make sure that they were okay, to give evidence that they were fine and that they could push this past, move past this. On the 30th of January, Lori failed to produce the kids to show that they were all right to the Rexburg police, which means that she could go to court. On the 31st of January, her oldest son, Kobe, pleaded in a YouTube video that he posted to his mother, saying to return the kids and do the right thing.
You have the power to end this. You have an opportunity to put this all to rest. I know that it's hard, maybe, for you. Maybe it's something you don't want to do. I don't know. I really, really want to see Tylee and JJ. I really want this to be over for more than one reason. And I'm not talking about myself. I'm not talking about people trying to get answers from me, people wanting things from me. I'm talking about simply the fact that I can't even fathom that this is happening to our family.
On the 20th of February, Lori is finally arrested in Kauai and charged with 2 counts of felony desertion of a child, misdemeanor charges of resisting and obstructing an officer, solicitation of a crime, and contempt. Vallow was held at a $5 million bail bond. Ain't getting out of that, are ya? And was being extradited back to Idaho for more hearings. The maximum sentence for each court case for each child was about 14 years in prison. While she was arrested and taken back to Idaho, Chad was not charged at all and was left to be free. Which he should have been arrested as well. Of course, he isn't the mother of the children, but he was still there, and they still believe that he was involved somehow. And it just blows my mind that they wouldn't bring him in as well, but whatever. In March of 2020, the bail was reduced from $5 million to $1 million. On the 13th of April, the Idaho Attorney General's office said that they would join the investigation of Lori. Lori faces the 2 felony charges of desertion and non-support of dependent children. She's also accused of resisting and obstructing an officer, solicitation of a crime, and contempt in court. If convicted, she could face more than a decade in prison. But that's not even counting if she killed the kids. This is just abandoning the children because they are not with her and no one knows where they are. So if they are alive, they've been abandoned. But until they find bodies or evidence that she killed them, she's only going to go to court for a decade or more, when she really should be in prison for the rest of her goddamn life, because I highly bet she killed them. The last bit of news that I have is on the 24th, which is tomorrow. There is a bail reduction hearing to try and see if she can get the $1 million bail lowered, because her husband Chad does not have that kind of money to just flow around and get her out. But the worry is that if it is lowered, which I'm really hoping that the judge just says no, as he has in the past, because they know the second that she gets out, they are going to run and they're going to disappear. And that is not what they need right now. They need to keep her in court. They need to figure out where these kids are. If she vanishes, they're not going to be able to find the kids. And the last time she went to court to try and lower this bail, because she has done this in the past, the judge agreed to lower the bail. She got excited, but then the judge said, only if you tell me where the kids are. And Lori's face went dumb, like she didn't know what he was saying, even though she clearly knew what he was saying. She knows where the kids are, whether they're where their bodies are or where they actually are. She knows. On May 7th, Lori's preliminary hearing is scheduled. Because of Corona, that might be moved, as it was moved already. It was supposed to happen in April, I believe, but now it's moved to the 7th of May. So hopefully they can figure out a way to keep the hearing as is, because I really want to know where the kids are. Like, where are they? Since last time I talked, a few updates have come through. On May 8th, Alex's coroner's report was released, and luckily he died of natural causes. It was like a blood clot in the heart, I believe, that killed him. And so a lot of people thought maybe Lori killed him because he knew too much. But in reality, it was natural causes. So at least that's a happy ending in this shit show. Then, for about a month, silence. Until June 9th. June 9th, the police finally get a search warrant for Chad Daybell's home in Salem, Idaho, which is a little outside of Rexburg. They got a search warrant based on the missing kids. They arrived at Chad's house at around 7 in the morning, and they searched all day until they got to the backyard when they started digging around and looking for things, and they discovered something suspicious. While the police were searching Chad's backyard, they found human remains, and so he was taken into custody in the local jail for 2 counts of destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence, since he's, hiding bodies. On June 10th, he made his first court appearance, and the bail was sent to $1 million for the fact that he was a flight risk. If they set it lower and he got out, he could just disappear. And his attorney was like, that's too high, it should be lower, it should be like $100,000, $50,000 for each case, since there were 2 sets of remains found. And they believed that it was only worth $100,000, but the judge is like, nah, no. So it was set to $1 million, and he is currently sitting in jail. If he does go on bail, he'll have to stay in the local area with a wrist, with an ankle monitor, I believe. But he will be trapped in a certain area, and he has no right. He is not allowed to see Lori, so that's good. On the 10th, the autopsy report was pending, but the families did believe that it was the kids, as there were 2 sets of children's remains found in Chad's backyard. They both gave statements on the situation. The Woodcocks and Ryans said, "We are filled with unfathomable sadness that these 2 bright stars were stolen from us, and only hope that they died without pain or suffering. Official statements from the Rexburg Police, the medical examiner, and the FBI will be released soon. We ask that you respect our family's privacy while we grieve. We have only just been told of the loss of our loved ones and need time to process. We are not granting interviews at this time, and hope you will all understand that this is the worst news we will ever get in our lives and want to be left alone for the time being. Thank you." The Cox family, which is Janice, Barry, Summer, Melanie, and Ian, also gave statements. "Is deeply saddened by the recent events in the investigation into the whereabouts of JJ and Tylee. Their love for them knows no bounds. The family has maintained a strong hope and belief that they were alive and well. With that hope and belief apparently shattered, they struggle to find comfort and hope in this potential new reality. They miss JJ and Tylee very much. The family is very grateful to those who have expended so much time and effort in trying to locate them. Family expresses their deep and abiding love for JJ and Tylee. The family will continue to closely watch the developing situation and will anxiously await the pending conclusions with heavy hearts. The family extends their gratitude to all those who have expressed their love and concern for JJ and Tylee and feels the strength of their faith and prayers." On June 13th, 2020, an autopsy was performed on the bodies, and it was officially determined that it was JJ and Tylee's remains. The official cause of death has not been shared as of yet, but of course it's only been about a week since they found the bodies, and so they're gonna have to do a ton of tests and figure out exactly what killed them. They gotta test for poisons, they gotta check weapons. It probably take a very long time for us to figure out exactly how they died, but it is officially confirmed by the police that it was JJ and Tylee. We don't know how long they've been there or how they died, so hopefully that will come to light soon, and when that does, I will share more. But the Rexburg Police did give a statement. "We would like to thank all of the law enforcement officials involved, the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, family, friends, and everyone throughout this community and across the county for their diligent and tireless efforts to find JJ and Tylee. It is not the outcome we have hoped to be able to find the children safe. Our hearts and prayers go out to the families of JJ and Tylee." So, on June 25th, it was discovered that the coroner, Brenda Dye, transported JJ and Tylee's remains to the Ada County coroner's place on June 11th. Tylee's body was dismembered and badly burned, while JJ's was wrapped in tight black plastic and secured with gray duct tape. Authorities have not released a cause of death as of that day. As of any day. They haven't even disclosed how they died yet. On July 4th, the probable cause requesting a search warrant for the Daybell property was unsealed. The probable cause was written by Rexburg Police Detective Ron Ball. Most of the evidence cited in the document comes from cell phone records taken from both Lori's brother Alex and Chad Daybell's phones. The data showed their locations and texts sent. Tylee was last seen September 8th at Yellowstone National Park. The family returned home around 8:37 that night, and this is when things get suspicious. Starting on September 9th, 2019, This is the day after Tylee was last seen alive. From 12 a.m. to 12:44, Alex is in Lori's apartment. From 2:42 to 3:37, Alex returns to Lori's apartment. This is significant, not only because he is there in the middle of the night, but also because this is the only time in September he appears to go over to Lori's between midnight and a.m. From 4:37 a.m. to 8:59 a.m., Alex is back in his own apartment. From 9:21 to 10:39, Alex goes to Chad Daybell's Fremont County home. At this time, Chad is still married to Tammy. Tammy's not dead yet. His wife of 29 years, who dies in their home on October 19th. At 10:57 to 11:39, Alex returns to the Daybell property. He then leaves and appears to spend the rest of the day in his Rexburg apartment. At 11:53 a.m., Chad texts his wife Tammy Daybell. "Well, I've had an interesting morning. Felt should burn all of the limb debris by the fire pit before it got too soaked by the coming storms. While did so, spotted a big raccoon along the fence. Hurried and got my gun, and he was still walking along. Got close enough that one shot did the trick. He's now in our pet cemetery. Fun times." Most of the pings from Alex's phone that morning placed him at the location of Chad's pet cemetery. Think about it. Tylee missing day after she's last seen. Alex over at Lori's early in the morning, then appears at Chad's house in the pet cemetery where her body will be found months later. Interesting. At 11:56, Chad texts Tammy again. "Gonna shower now and then go right for a while. BYU, love you." At 2:47, Tammy texts Chad. "Good for you." 2:48, Chad texts Tammy. "I'm back home now." Chad's neighbor, Matt Price, later asked Chad's son, Garth Daybell, why he had heard a gunshot on the Daybells' property. Garth told him his father had shot a raccoon during the day. Detective Ball found this suspicious because raccoons are normally nocturnal animals and are not regularly out during the day. Price and his wife, Regan, told the detective that the Daybells hardly ever used the fire pit on the Daybells' property. Shortly after Tammy's death, Regan noticed frequent bonfires. On September 19th, 2019, Melanie Gibb, a close friend, and her boyfriend David Warwick arrive from Arizona to spend the weekend at Lori's townhouse. Soon after she arrived, Lori informed Melanie that JJ had become a zombie and pointed out behaviors such as sitting still and watching TV, claiming JJ said he loved Satan, and an increased vocabulary as evidence that JJ was now a zombie. Melanie observed JJ's behavior and felt it to be the same as it always had been. On September 22nd, Lori, Melanie, and David are preparing to record a podcast. Melanie hosted a religious podcast with Lori on which Chad was a frequent guest. JJ begins acting up, so Alex takes JJ to his own apartment. When Alex returned later that night, he was carrying JJ, who appeared to be asleep with his head on Alex's shoulder. David specifically remembered this because he saw it as a tender moment. This is the last verifiable sighting of JJ. Now, September 23rd. From 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., David asked Lori where JJ is. Lori informed David and Melanie that JJ had been acting like a zombie and had been crawling on the kitchen cabinetry and had gotten on top of the cabinetry in the space between the cabinetry and the ceiling. So, you know, like the cabinets near the top of the ceiling? He got on top of that, supposedly. She informed them that JJ had climbed upon the cabinetry and that he had knocked down a picture of Jesus. Is he full of Satan? This is when Alex had come to take JJ away. From 9:55 to 10:12 a.m., cell phone pings place Alex near the pond on Chad's property. The next day, Lori called JJ's school to tell them he had gone to visit his grandparents in Louisiana. She later told the school he would be homeschooled and would not be attending again. The timing of Alex's visit to Chad's property coincided with the last known respective sightings of Tylee and JJ. On June 9th, law enforcement executed a search warrant on the Daybell property. They first searched near the pond where Alex's phone had pinged on September 23rd. They found a patch of ground approximately 4 feet by 2.5 feet that appeared to be disturbed. Upon digging, they found a round object covered in black plastic. Cutting it, a strong odor was released. A second layer of white plastic was inside. An incision was made into the white layer of plastic, exposing what appeared to be human remains. The crown of head covered in light brown hair. The remaining dirt around the object was methodically removed, exposing what appeared to be a body wrapped in black plastic. The plastic appeared to be tightly wrapped around the body and secured with gray duct tape, in the same area that Alex's phone had pinged. Law enforcement then searched the Daybell's pet cemetery near the fire pit. This was the pet cemetery where Alex's phone pinged on September 9th. They found charred tissue and bones buried there. An anthropologist on the scene confirmed that both remains appeared to be in non-adult humans. They were later positively identified as JJ and Tylee. While officers were conducting their search, Chad Daybell was observed by officers to be continuously watching where officers were searching. He was observed watching officers while sitting in his vehicle in the front driveway and while sitting in his vehicle across the street at his daughter's residence. After JJ's head was discovered, Chad began driving away. Officers conducted a traffic stop and detained him. He was later arrested. Now, after all of that evidence has gone out, there was a few other things that have come to light. On July 22nd, Chad and Lori predicted that that would be the day the world ended. Oh look, it's October. We're still here. Chad not only predicted that it would end on July 22nd, but he also claimed that he had visions of earthquakes hitting the washout front as a sign. He wrote about his apocalyptic visions he discussed in his 2007 doomsday book, The Great Gathering. I described 2 earthquakes in The Great Gathering, Daybell wrote in his blog. The prophecies indicate there will be many that strike the United States in coming years, even in areas where there haven't been earthquakes in recorded history. In the novel, I focus on the quakes that will hit Utah's washout front. The first one is moderate, and it disrupts life for a few weeks. Many older brick buildings crumble, and roads suffer damage, but repairs are made quickly. Interestingly, the book starts off with a 5.7 magnitude earthquake on the washout front, which, in real life, a 5.7 earthquake struck the area in March, yet nothing came of it. So technically, one of his predictions was right. On August 21st, Chad appeared in court via Zoom alongside his defense attorney, John Pryor. He said little in the hearing, speaking only to acknowledge that he understood the charges against him and the possible penalties. He faces 2 felony counts of concealment of evidence and 2 felony counts of conspiracy to conceal evidence in the case. Each of the 4 felony charges carries a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. The terms could run coherently or be stacked for a maximum of 20. They better not put them all at the same time. 5 years, I'll kill someone. Myself. He pleaded not guilty to all charges. His trial will be January 11th, 2021. Lori also pleaded not guilty, and her trial has been set to January 25th to the 29th at 9 a.m. It was revealed that JJ was found with duct tape wrapped around his body. The detail made everyone question whether the child was buried alive. Why do you bind someone's feet and hands and mouth in duct tape? You do it to keep them from yelling or talking. The way they found the body leads you to believe that JJ was still alive, because you don't go through all that trouble to someone who's already dead. He better have been dead. Oh my god. They better not have buried a 7-year-old alive. I'm gonna punch someone in the face is what I'm gonna do about 5 seconds. Chad and Lori Daybell have been indicted on first-degree murder charges for the deaths of Tammy Daybell, Tylee Ryan, and Joshua J.J. Vallow. Madison County Prosecuting Attorney Rob Wood made the announcement during a news conference on May 25th, which happens to be the day JJ would have turned 9 years old. The following are the charges Chad and Lori are facing, according to the news release sent after Wood and Fremont County Prosecutor Lindsay Blake met with the media. Lori and Chad Daybell were indicted on the charge of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception for the death of Tylee Ryan. Lori and Chad Daybell were indicted on the charge of first-degree murder for the death of Tylee Ryan. Lori and Chad Daybell were indicted on the charge of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception for the death of J.J. Vallow. Lori and Chad Daybell were indicted on the charge of first-degree murder for the death of J.J. Vallow. Lori and Chad Daybell were indicted on the charge of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and the death of Tammy Daybell. Chad Daybell was indicted on the charge of first-degree murder in the death of his wife, Tammy Daybell. Lori Daybell was indicted on the charge of grand theft related to Social Security survivor benefits over $1,000 allocated for the care of minors Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow that were appropriated after the children were missing and ultimately found deceased. Chad Daybell was indicted on the charge of insurance fraud related to a life insurance policy he had on Tammy Daybell, for which he was the beneficiary and received funds after her death. Chad Daybell was indicted on the charge of insurance fraud related to another life insurance policy he had on Tammy Daybell, for which he was the beneficiary and received funds after her death. The penalty for the murder charges range from life in prison to the death penalty. So far, prosecutors have not disclosed which route they are going to go for this, but as of right now, it's either life in prison with no parole or death. Grand jury proceedings are held in strict confidence and are sealed from the public, so it's unknown what evidence led the jury to indict. If more news comes in about this case, like if they get the death penalty or if they get life in prison or any more news comes out on how they were killed or who did it, I will be reporting on it and may make another video after what I have. But this is the collection of everything we know so far at the disappearance of JJ and Tylee. And I'm so heartbroken that it had to end this way. I really wanted a happy ending. Sadly, we didn't get one. So, if any more news comes in, I will let you guys know. But until then, I hope you enjoyed as much as you can enjoy a story like this. And I will be back on Monday with whatever I just said post. Alright, see you later.